Hey friend, it's the entrepreneur coach, Bri Seeley, back here with you for another podcast episode. I'm really excited about today's topic because when people want to talk about entrepreneurship and business, they immediately want to talk about strategy. What can I do to make more money in my business? Just tell me the steps to take, I'll take them, which, don't get me wrong, it's important. But there's one element of entrepreneurship that people frequently neglect. They fail to look at this area and then they wonder why they're getting the results they're getting, even though it has very little to do with the actions they're taking. So what is this area that people tend to overlook and not include when they're assessing their success metrics? It is the people around them. It is the people that they talk to on a daily basis. It is the mindsets of the people that they are surrounding themselves with. So we're going to dive into this today because there are two very specific analogies that apply to the people you have around you. And then I'm going to share with you as well how to start shifting to be more aligned with the actual analogy, the second one that I'm going to share, that you want in terms of building the community and network around you so that your network isn't actually dragging you down and helping you to stay where you are, but they're actually helping you rise up. So stick around. We're going to chat all things building a successful entrepreneurial community today. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Coach podcast. I'm the Entrepreneur Coach, Bri Seeley. My mission is to help female entrepreneurs like you have the audacity to believe in the inevitability of your success, then to gather the resources, tools, and knowledge you need to create your most aligned and profitable pathway to your vision of success. This podcast is all about providing you with a nitty-gritty behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. Forget the success porn and the rags to riches stories. Each episode will pull back the curtain and share the reality of entrepreneurship. I cannot wait to be part of your journey. All right, let's get right to it. The first analogy that I'm going to share with you is one that I have heard many, many times in my entrepreneurial career. You may have heard it too, and it's the crab pot analogy. What is the crab pot analogy? It talks about how when you boil crabs, if any of you have boiled crabs, I have. I used to live in Olympia, Washington. My ex that I was with for a very long time would stop and pull crab pots from the bay on the way home. I'd have the big pot of boiling water ready to go to throw those fresh crabs in. They were delicious, but that's not the point. What happens when you put live crabs into a pot of boiling water, save some of the theatrics around that, the crabs at the bottom of the pot actually pull the crabs from the top of the pot. So the crabs at the top of the pot are automatically trying to scramble and get out because they're being boiled alive. But that's beside the point. They're trying to scramble to get out. So the crabs at the bottom who don't have the opportunity to scramble to get out are trying still, but what they end up doing is pulling those crabs at the top back down in the water so that unfortunately all of them meet their inevitable demise and then we eat them. How does this relate to your entrepreneurial community? Well, if you have people around you that don't understand what you're doing, don't believe that what you're doing is even possible. I just read an article today that said that this woman in the Tulsa community was earning $30,000 to $50,000 a month and that was stupid money and that no one should be earning that much. And I'm like, well, one of my clients just hit $100,000 a month. So is $30,000 to $50,000 really unattainable? And is it a bad thing? When you have people around you that don't understand what you're doing, that don't believe in what you're doing, that don't support what you're doing, who are hindering what you're doing, they're the crabs at the bottom of the pot that are pulling you back down in the pot with them. What result is that going to create? Well, obviously, it's going to proverbially boil you alive. We don't want that kind of dynamic when it comes to the people that are closest to us. Now, I am by all means not saying that you should go out and end all of your friendships with everyone you've ever known that doesn't understand your entrepreneurial pursuits or that isn't aiming for the same things that you're aiming for in your entrepreneurial pursuits. What I am saying is we have to know who around us is able to be an entrepreneurial support system for us and who around us is maybe just the fun friend or maybe just the friend that we talk about Taylor and Travis with, or the friend that we go throw pottery with. We can have different segments of friends. They don't all have to be entrepreneurial friends. And I would even go as far as to say, you should not try to force your friends that don't get it into an entrepreneurial friend role. I have done that for a very long time. You know anything about me, you know I'm super ambitious. I set a goal a very long time ago of wanting to be a 7-figure business owner. I actually lost my best friend because of it. But I was not willing to sacrifice my goals and my vision and my impact in your life in order to make someone else feel comfortable around me. That person wanted to pull me back down in the pot with them. And I said, no. I knew in that particular relationship that I did have to fully cut it off. But there are other relationships that I've had that I've tried to pull them along with me and be like, yes, let's aim at big things together. And not everyone is into that. Some people want to have a business just to have a business and take care of them. I highly recommend that when you're looking for or building your entrepreneurial community, making sure that you have people that are actually aligned with where you're going. So if we do not want to be in the crab pot with people that are pulling us down and trying to get us to give up our dreams, give up our goals, make ourselves smaller, hinder our successes, the question becomes then, what is the other option? I am launching this mastermind and I researched something that I thought was really interesting that has kind of become my new analogy for how to build an entrepreneurial community. In my mind, I had the analogy of the butterfly, right? You are a caterpillar, you go in the cocoon, you come out a butterfly and voila, you're transformed. I don't know about you, I am really sick of that analogy. I feel like it's overdone. It's used in the wrong circumstances. Everyone uses it. I did not want to use that analogy, but I wasn't sure what else was available. And so I go online and I'm sitting on my meditation cushion, Googling, trying to find an analogy that would suit this experience of being in a women's business mastermind. I found another crab analogy. It's the analogy of the hermit crab. Now, when I grew up, my dad actually had hermit crabs. They were contained in a tank, and when they needed a new shell, we would put a new shell in there for them. So in my mind, that's how hermit crabs worked. They just get into a new shell. What I didn't know was that hermit crabs in the wild have a very different process. If a hermit crab in the wild tries to upgrade its shell by itself, two things happen. The first thing that happens is they likely get eaten by a predator. They're alone in the wild, getting out of the shell that's protecting their most vulnerable parts, trying to walk into this new shell, and it is very likely that a predator is going to come and consume them. We don't want that. The other thing that often happens if they try to do it alone is that the sun bakes them to death. Also don't want that. So what do they do instead? Interesting, because a group of hermit crabs will gather together, similar to, I don't know, maybe a women's business mastermind. And these 15 to 20 crabs, without using words, because crabs don't talk, size each other up from largest to smallest. And they get in line, and then they also find one larger shell because the largest one has to get in a larger shell. And what they end up doing is the largest one gets in his largest shell and then helps the next one to get back in that bigger shell, and the next one to get into the bigger shell, and the next one. It's like this domino effect of crabs upgrading their shell. Now, how does this apply to you? We want to make sure when we're building an entrepreneurial community that the people around us are the ones who are helping us step into our bigger shell. I talk a lot about containers and the size of our containers. This matters because if you energetically have a very small container, just like a really small little container, only so much can fit in that. Only so much greatness, only so much abundance, only so much success. What we want to do, that container becomes our comfort zone. If we want more in our businesses, we need a bigger container. Similar to how these hermit crabs, they're growing physically, they need a bigger container. We're growing emotionally and energetically, and we need to be in bigger containers, but we don't want to do it alone. We don't want to be in the crab pot where people are pulling us down. And we also don't want to do this process alone. How do we find other individuals to help us get into our bigger container? There's 3 different ways that I have found to do this. First is you can create a group or a community yourself. The pros of this are you get to choose who's in that community. The cons of this are, and I say this because I've done this before, you can never really fully truly know just because you like someone or like their energy or think that you're fully, completely, totally aligned. You can never fully know what's going on with them in their businesses. And because you're all peers and there's no one there facilitating the group, it can be a little hard. I had facilitated a group of, I think it was about 5 of us in a little mastermind a few years ago. Me and one other woman were very much doing a lot of TV appearances. I had a publicist. She was doing national television. It was all these things. And that was just part of our growth strategy for each of our businesses. 2 of the women did not have that as part of their growth strategy, which from my perspective, every single person's growth strategy is individual. These 2 women, they felt like they weren't as successful as me and this other woman because they weren't being on TV on a regular basis. The group inevitably broke apart. You can never fully really know when you are in a container like that, who you are bringing into the container with you. And because there's no one there to facilitate that, I wasn't a facilitator. None of us were facilitating. We were just colleagues as we saw it on equal playing fields. I wasn't there to coach anyone else. We were in that mastermind to brainstorm, to help each other, to give ideas, to encourage. It really shifted the dynamics. And like I said, inevitably within a month or 2, the group broke apart. That's one option. You can create it yourself. Another option is you can join some sort of free online community, which is a decent option. The upside with this is generally if individuals are joining a community, they're pretty aligned based on what the messaging is because the marketing for that community is going to draw in a very specific type of person. The downside with doing this is there's very little accountability within those groups and communities. You could see someone in a networking group once and then not see that person for another 6 to 8 months. I've seen this a lot with the communities that I run. People come in super gung-ho, ready to dive in, and then because it's a free community, they're just not invested in it. They don't stay and they kind of like fade away. The last option would be joining some sort of paid mastermind. The upside of this is it's going to be individuals that are way more invested. It is going to be facilitated by someone who can deal with the interpersonal stuff. If one of the members is having some imposter syndrome or having some things come up, when I run a mastermind, it is my job to support that person in overcoming that because that's what they signed up for. And it is not the job of the fellow participants. Yes, they can support that individual, but it is my job to actually get that individual to a place of transformation. People are invested, they're showing up, they're committed. There's a facilitator to help handle the interpersonal things. There's already an established structure. There is an expectation and you make an agreement to yourself that you are going to show up in a certain way at a certain cadence. And it truly is a container to help everyone in it upgrade to their new, bigger shells. It is a really, really cool experience to both facilitate and witness and be a part of. So if you are truly looking to upgrade your entrepreneurial community, you're ready to stop being in the crab pot where you're getting pulled down, you're ready to stop trying to do it alone where you get eaten with predators or baked by the sun, and you truly want a container that can help you upgrade your capacity for greatness, for revenue, for success, all without overworking and underliving, I would really encourage you to consider applying for the Mastermind. It is a phenomenal container. There are unfortunately only a handful of slots left for our January start date. So if you're thinking about it, Be sure to submit your application now. You do have to apply to be in it. We do not accept everyone because I have to make sure that container is the kind of container where we're all helping each other into our bigger shells. And if you apply and enroll before December 1st, I have actually a bonus for everyone. It is a bonus worth $1,500. It is a database of subconscious activation. So really helping your subconscious brain, your operating system, get on board with bringing in more money, stepping into your future self, giving yourself permission to leap, letting go of your fear of failure, and truly claiming that upgraded, larger container where you blow past your comfort zone and create way more space in your life for success. You can visit briseeley.com/mastermind. That will take you straight to the application. There's just a list of questions. You literally have nothing to lose by applying. The application is free. The conversation with me is free. I'm going to be super honest with you about whether or not I can support you in your entrepreneurial journey. Like I mentioned before, as of the date of this recording, we currently only have 5 spaces available. The other 5 have already been claimed. If you're thinking about it, again, would encourage you to submit an application, get that application in before December 1st. The women who have already enrolled have already had their onboarding call and are actually already getting results in their business. One woman has applied for a TED Talk, one woman has launched new revenue streams, and one woman has already doubled her prices. This mastermind is not for the faint of heart. Not only does it give you that community to help support you in upgrading your container, but it is going to kick you in the butt to actually take actions to exponentially grow your business as well. Encouraging you to look at who is the community that's currently around you. Is it the crab pot? Are you trying to do it alone? Are you trying to facilitate containers that are taking too much of your energy, that are not surrounding you with the right people? Are you only in free containers that are also not surrounding you with the right people? And are you truly ready to step into a greater container to help you achieve all of the goals that you're looking to create in your business? I am the entrepreneur coach, Bri Seeley. Thank you so much for joining me today. Make sure to visit briseeley.com/mastermind if you are looking to join a container like this and really, truly upgrade your capacity for greatness in 2024. Appreciate you so much. Don't forget to subscribe on whatever platform you are listening on, and we will see you on next week's episode. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Entrepreneur Coach podcast. I hope you gained valuable wisdom from this episode and have at least one thing you can act on today. As I always say, listening to this episode will not change your life. What you do afterwards will. Please be sure to leave a rating and a review of the show, and don't forget to share this episode with a friend or colleague who could use it. Last but not least, please have the audacity to believe in the inevitability of your success today. You deserve it.